Let's open our next lecture file, Handout 1. In Handout 1, we will introduce and go over the introduction to Java in Chapter 3 to 4. So in Chapter 3 to 4, you can see we have selection and mathematic function in Java. So what are selections? Selections basically is the if statement or if-else statement. And also we have the switch statement. So you already learned that in C++. So in the next couple video, this one I will just quickly go over some example I include in our demo files. So I want you to download the demo file, the source file, and run on your Eclipse. And since you already took COMSC 110, or you took some other programming courses, you understand what is the if statement or the if-else statement and the switch statement. I want you to compare the difference between other programming language and the Java. So that's this video we will talk about. So we all know we have the if statement. If this condition is true, so then we will do something. Otherwise, if that false, if we don't do anything. If you want to have two-way choice, of course, you can have if-else statement. So after the if condition, if that's true, we do something. Otherwise, we do the else. And also, we can have the nested if statement. Sometimes you have too many nested if statements, so we will using the switch. So in C++ and Java, the if or if-else statement or switch or other conditional expression, they are pretty similar. So quickly, you can see here the example. This example we call simple if demo. So the simple if demo, actually they are in your demo files. So then you can see here, every time we run a Java file, we need to have our class. So our class called simple if demo. So you can guess this file, the source file name is simpleifdemo.java. So then you still have a main function to run your program. Then you can see here, right, that's the if statement. If a number we get from the user input, we modulus, you see percentage actually in C++ mean you divide and you see the remainder, right? Right, so the same thing in Java, we have the same thing. So if the number from the user input, then divide by 5 equal to 0, then we print high 5. If the number divide by 2 evenly, so we display high even. So you can see if statement on the syntax is the same as the Java. But the most important thing I want to talk about here is how to get the user input. Earlier, we know how to print the result in console. So we do the system.out.println. But sometimes if I want to get the user input from the console, so for example, we say enter an integer. So here you can see 4 is from the user input. How should I get user input from the console? So let me introduce you a new class we call scanner. The scanner under java.util. So that's why when you create a scanner, you need to import the scanner. So once you import the scanner, right? Right, so then in line 5, you see here, you create a scanner object called input. So you can see here, whenever you want to create an object in Java, you need to specify your data type. So the data type actually is your class type, we call scanner. Then here, the input, you can think about that's the object reference name. So that's the object reference name is input. In Java, that will be very different from C++. Everything is dynamic object. We're using dynamic memory all the time. So when you create an object reference variable, you need to use the new to create a new object. So that's the scanner is our new object type. So this scanner came from where? A scanner actually is a source you will get the input. So this input, so here in your scanner, your constructor function inside the parentheses, if we want to get from the console, you see here is the console input. So we do the system.in. So that we create a scanner object to read the user input from the console. So once you get the scanner object to get user input from the console, so then if we want to get the user input, so here since we are expecting user enter an integer, so to get the user input, you just need to using your scanner object name dot next int. So the next int, you know you are trying to reading the next input as integer. Or you can do next double or next string or the next new line. So that we just do the next. So some other scanner static method you can see in the handout 0. Also here just quickly to introduce you what is a scanner. So that's the example you can run from that. So now actually that's the if statement, right? So in this handout, actually the same thing. You can see if we do the if-else statement, so that you will have if your radius less than 0, you will print incorrect input. Else, we just calculate the circle area. So you can see if-else statement, they are the same syntax as the C++ in Java. So besides if and if-else statement, continue, we will see, remember we have some logic, the Boolean operator. You can check in the if statement, you can check if the value less than equal, greater than, greater equal, or are they equal or they are not equal. So that's the same one in C++. So that's the same one in Java operator. So then you can use in the logic operator for that. So here is the example. We using the system.current time millisecond. So we see we try to mode by 10 to create a value between 0 to 9 as an integer. And here you can see very interesting, because if this one, we are not sure they are the integer or the double or long number. But in Java, if we want to casting any data to another data type, you see you can just put the int here. So then we can make sure here the value, they will between 0 to 9. So the same thing on current time millisecond. So their output may be double, they may be integer. So then we make sure we will cast to the int. So that's similar in C++, we can do that too. So you can see in Java, we can do that too. So here I quickly show you so many examples. All those examples actually is under our canvas. Like I showed you in the previous video, so you can always go to the file. So under the demo file folder, so different modules. So now I add the module 0. Okay, so module 1, you see you have all the source file here. So I want you to make sure you download all the source file here and run from your Eclipse. So then combine with our PowerPoint file, so you can check with you can run correctly or not. So here on this one, I just want to quickly to show you the if statement, the if-else statement, and the last one about the switch statement. So the switch statement we also introduced in C++. So the switch statement, you have one value input. So usually we only have the character or the int. So in this each switch statement, you have your switch expression according to different cases. So you can do different process. So you can see here in this example, don't you think this switch statement syntax in C++ is exactly as Java? Right. So that's why I will leave that for you to run those programs by yourself and compare, are they different or not? And also so far I give you so many different source files, right? So after you run those programs, you can compare those programs for you learn. You either learn C++ before or you learn Python before. So any other programming language you learned before, I want you to compare you have in Java now. Are they different? How they different? So those questions actually the answer or your finding you can share in your discussion. Sometimes student doesn't know what they should put in the discussion. So now I give you what you should share in your discussion. So your discussion, you can just compare from your past programming experience. So now moving to Java syntax, how they will be different. So then here you have the last example about the switch statement. So then we will do the Chinese zodiac example. Yeah, I'm Chinese from Taiwan. So actually we have the every 12 years we have the cycle from 12 different animals. So this example is a very good switch statements example. So in this example, we ask the user to enter the birth year. So then we will tell them what year they are. So this example, the same thing, we have that in the demo file. So then you can run. So this example, you can see, again, we learn how to get the user input. So we create the scanner object. So then we get the user input. The year should be an integer. So we do the next int to get the year from user. So we save from that. So in the switch statement, so according to your birth year, divide by 12, what is the remainder? So you have different cases. So we just print the user what the animal year they are. So that's our first video from your handout 1. So pretty much we just reviewing the if-else statement and your switch statement. And at the end, like we said earlier, when we do the if statement condition, we have the logic operator, right? So then earlier you can do greater equal. But also remember we have not, we have and, we have or, those operator. Okay, so then you see those operators, actually they are exactly the same in C++ and Java. So have fun to try those examples. Any question you have, please post in the discussion and also share your finding in the discussion. Or yeah, you also can share with us during the next Zoom meeting.